Hi, I'm Anne from A.Silosky Jewelry Designs, and I am also co-owner of 32 Flavors Boutique in Charlotte, North Carolina. And today I am going to be showing you how to make a basic pair of earrings. Earrings 101, the basics of the basics. So let's get started. So I have my table all set here and everything I'm going to need to make this pair of earrings. I have my tools, my round nose pliers, my wire cutters, and I even have my bent nose pliers. Bent nose pliers aren't mandatory for this, but they are one of my favorite tools to help me get that extra little push on my ear loops when I need them. But basically, you can get by with just your round nose pliers and your wire cutters. And your round nose pliers you're going to need for almost every piece of jewelry making you do. So definitely get some of those. So what I have for my earrings are head pins. And head pins actually will come in a couple different sizes, even up to 4 inches, depending on how many beads you actually want to add to your head pin. You may want to get some bigger ones, but I just have 3 little beads that we're using, so I have my head pin. Now, a head pin is exactly what that sounds like. There is a head on the bottom of this little pin to stop all your beads from falling off of it. So these are very important for any basic earring making you want to do. Definitely get yourself some head pins. So I have a few little beads here. I'm very weird about odd numbers, so I have 3 beads for my odd fascination. Now you can use whatever you'd like here. I have some handmade glass beads and a couple little silver beads, and you can do your design however you'd like. I am going to start with my little disc navy blue bead and put it on the bottom. I have this pretty little turquoise bead for my center, and to polish it off, I'm just going to add a little silver bead to the top. Just super cute. So now I'm going to take my next head pin and do exactly the same thing on it. I'm going to take my blue bead, my turquoise bead, and then my little silver bead. Easy peasy. So now here comes the actual making the earring part. So on your round nose pliers, they will actually start small and get bigger. So wherever you grab your wire on this is going to determine the size of the loop for your earring. Now, the very first thing we want to do is I always like to do with the tip, the smallest part, so I can get really close. I take the tip of my round nose pliers and just at the base of where my little silver bead is. I want it to be pretty tight. I don't want a gap there, and I just want to hold it and grab it. I want to take my wire and bend it at a 90-degree angle. So my beads are here, my wire is here, 90 degrees. Perfect. So some people like to go ahead and make their loops before they cut their excess wire off. I actually like to go ahead and cut my wire off first and then make my loop. So I want you to take your wire cutters, and wherever the flush part is of your wire cutters, I want that to be facing your beads. That way you can see exactly where you are cutting it. You want to give yourself about 1 centimeter of space here. So here's all of our excess off the back, and this part next to the beads is going to be our little loop. So go ahead and cut your wire. And sometimes if you're having trouble thinking of where 1 centimeter is, you can imagine another little bead being there, but you want to give yourself enough space so you have a nice little loop. And then if you happen to cut more, you can always go back and cut a little excess off and redo your loop. But give yourself some space. When you are cutting, please make sure not to point this in anyone's face. You can point it down. Just give it a tight squeeze and it'll pop off. So there is our first little bead with our wire. My excess wire is just right here. That can be thrown away. So now I'm going to take my round nose pliers again. Like I said, they're very important. Now I want to grab my wire again with these. Good rule of thumb, I grab the tip with the tip. So the tip of my pliers, the tip of my wire to make my loop. If you grabbed it a little bit further up, then your loop will just be a little bit larger, which is okay as well. Some people might want to take some nail polish and mark on their pliers exactly where they want their loop to be. You can take a little piece of tape and do the same. I am just going to go ahead and take the tip of my pliers and the tip of my wire like that, and I hold my hand in this upside down position. I know if I start here, when I roll it, it will make a perfect loop. So my hand's upside down and then like this. So the tip of my pliers, tip of my wire, go ahead and grab it tight. Brace the bottom of your bead so your wire doesn't move on you, and I also like to hold the top of my bead. So when I am making a loop with my hand, I'm actually pulling the wire towards my thumb here. So think about, you want the wire to go towards your thumb. Hold it every tight, stable, and round it over. And then it'll round over your pliers, and you just have a cute little loop. Now, if your loop is a little loose, you do want it to touch back on itself, so you make sure that it's a tight, secure loop. So I'm just taking, this is where my round nose pliers come in handy. I'm taking my round nose pliers, and look how I'm holding them. I don't hold them like this. I hold them like this because I want them to go in this direction. So I'm just straightening up my wire and making sure it's closed completely. You can give it a little pinch if you want, not too tight. You don't want to crush your loop. And there we have our first loop on our first pair of earrings. So we're going to repeat the exact same thing. So let's get our tools out of the way here. Here's my one earring. Grab your round nose pliers. Remember the tip at the base of your silver bead right here. Bend at a 90-degree angle. Get this out of the way. Take your wire cutters, and sometimes you can even hold up your piece of wire you cut from your first pair of earrings and line it up with this one. That way you know exactly where you're going to cut. That way you're going to get exactly the same loop. Remember, just about a centimeter of space here. Go ahead and cut it. I don't want mine to fly across the room, so I can slice it and then pull it off. My two pieces of wire, and they match up just perfectly. Set those to the side. Go ahead and grab your round nose pliers again. You'll hear a lot about round nose pliers. Remember, the tip with the tip. I want to grab it here. My hand is that upside down position. Grab your tip here. Grab your wire there. Brace the bottom. And you want your loop to come towards this thumb that's bracing all your beads. And loop it around. Voila! We have loop 2. Now we have 2 loops. This is great. So we're almost finished. This is our last step to have a beautiful pair of earrings. So I have my little fish hook wires here. You could get posts, you can get French horns, you can get clip-on, you can get whatever you'd like. This is just the earring back that I prefer. So they actually, all little ear wires have a little loop to them. These loops that we made, these already have the little loop. What you want to do, and for me again, I'll show you 2 different ways. You can take your round nose pliers, put half of your pliers through the loop and pull back. Open that little split. That way you don't have to open this loop. Just pull that back. Add your little earring to it, and we want to close it. So then you want to go ahead and just give it a little pinch, and now it's closed. Always do the earring check. Make sure this isn't going to come off. That's how most earrings fall apart. The loop isn't closed all the way, so just make sure that's closed. So voila, 1 earring, 1 more to go. So I said I was going to show you 2 different ways. This is the way I prefer to do it. I like to take my bent nose pliers, these handy dandy little pliers that look like fingers, and I want to open this loop up on this ear wire. And I like these ones because they just grab it, I pull back on it, and my loop is open. I go ahead and take my next earring that already has its loop on, go ahead and put it on, and then I pinch this shut. I like these pliers because when I am pinching loops shut, they actually are easy to grab and easy to squeeze. Because these are round nose pliers, because they are rounded, squeezing something that is rounded as well isn't always as easy. They work, we just did it, but I still prefer these. So now we have our beautiful pairs of earrings right here. All done. Lovely. These I think will be a gift today for my friend who I'm getting ready to have lunch with. And I just love them. Pretty little earrings. Voila. That is basic earring making 101. Stay tuned, and next week I'll actually show you how to use an eye pin and get another dangle effect with it, and to add a little bit of chain. Thanks!